ARPGs have a long history and a promising future. The games consistently garner big player bases upon release, yet there seemed to be a lull in recent years that concerned a lot of players, including me. Nobody was sure what direction this genre was going towards, and then big name drops sprinkled here and there led up to the newest release from the most widely known franchise this genre has ever seen: Diablo. In this video, I'd like to come to a conclusion of what happened to ARPGs in the past few years, while discussing the genre's expansive past and touching up on the titles that held solid during the seeming dry period. ARPGs, also known as an action role-playing game, combine many different elements of gameplay. You traverse through an isometric world using spells you pick up along the way. These games are known for huge and complex skill trees, storylines that you can pay attention to or ignore, doesn't really matter, and expansive maps. Usually broken up into different acts, you unlock new regions that progressively get harder until you reach the final boss. And then, you do it all over again. And again. And again. This subgenre of game has been around for decades now. Starting in 1984 with the release of Falcom's Dragon Slayer, every single title has brought something new and unique to the table in terms of gameplay. While the Dragon Slayer games don't have any continuous plot, and Yoshio Kaya notoriously strayed away from random encounters, mainly because he thought there was something weird about fighting enemies you can't see. While this game set the tone for what's to come, it was lacking in a lot of areas. Moving forward to 2001, Diablo 2 came out, and it evolved the franchise and genre as a whole. This game featured a quest-based open world, 5 character types, and broader customization than had ever been seen at that point in time. This game was revolutionary, and it inspired developers for years to come. This subgenre continued to blossom over the years, inspired countless franchises we see today, and saw countless titles from the Fate series, Ultima's Underworld, Titan Quest, which introduced a dual-class system, and Torchlight. These games, among many others, carried us into the 2010s, which saw an explosion in popularity and overall attention from gamers around the globe. All was going well and continued down a path where the top developers were still pushing out quality games to feed the community. Diablo was still going strong, and after a drawn-out development hell and an extremely controversial and shaky launch, Diablo 3 was at the top of the food chain. Later that year, Torchlight 2 released, focusing on loot before anything else. You get showered in items constantly, and it kept players coming back for more, since it was extremely gratifying even at the higher difficulties. 2013 came around and saw the release of Path of Exile, featuring one of the most advanced and complex skill trees you'll ever find in a game. Even in today's standards, it truly felt like you were playing the love child of Diablo. With constant content updates, seasons, and events happening, it ended up reaching an all-time peak of 209,000 concurrent players. The rest of the 2010s were kind of quiet in terms of insane success within the ARPG genre. Games like Grim Dawn released and garnered some intermediate popularity while offering enjoyable gameplay. But in terms of major releases, there was a lull. After a few quiet years, there came a game that brought eyes back into the community. Lost Ark, a fully fledged MMO ARPG released in Korea and blew up in popularity. This game eventually made its way to the West after a few years and saw immediate attention, and it reignited a lot of people's passions for the genre. Another title was released which, when announced, felt like a system shock: Minecraft Dungeons. Ask me if I ever thought I'd see a Minecraft IP dungeon crawler when I first downloaded the game back in 2011, and I'd have called you an idiot. But there it was. And it didn't suck. While those two titles I just mentioned were fun and brought back attention to ARPGs, it wasn't enough. There needed to be another Goliath of a game come out. Something that the whole community could unite behind. Something huge. And it happened. Diablo Immortal. Diablo 4 was announced in November of 2019. Seeing as my birthday is in November, it felt like a birthday present from heaven? Hell? Either way, it was finally happening. Everyone was anticipating the newest installment in one of the most beloved game series of all time. How long could we wait? Well, 3.5 years is how long we could wait, but the game finally came out on June 6, 2023. Oh boy, did Blizzard not disappoint either. Who would have thought? Overhauled game systems, a kick-ass story, and one of the coolest cutscenes a video game will ever receive. This game brought everyone together. The marketing was even top-notch. This game was what the community needed in order to come back to life. I know countless people who have never played an ARPG and they came to the genre just for that game. And we're not done yet either. Path of Exile 2 is set to release next year, and with the longevity of the first game, it will bring us content to absorb for the years to come while we wait on what's to come next. I set out making this video to analyze what happened to ARPGs, and to keep it simple, not much. Still a beloved genre, the community will still show up for the big releases. The focus of the gaming industry shifted to shooters and big titles, story-driven games, and the indie scene focuses on other genres. But the release of Diablo 4 hopefully flipped a switch and will continue to inspire more games like it and advance the industry forward in the quality of games we see, just like the prior entries to the franchise did. Before I close, I'd like to share a story of why I love ARPGs. I grew up gaming on a laptop that couldn't really run anything. Diablo 2 was quickly a favorite of mine because a toaster could run it. But it made me fall in love with picking up on lore, adventuring into every crevice of the map, leaving no stone unturned, and trying out different ways of playing the same game. Once I upgraded and was able to play more games, I started to realize the impact these games had on the industry. Many we know and love wouldn't exist in the same way they do if it weren't for ARPGs. These games have to have unique aspects in order to stand out. Every title I play continues to bring a new experience. There are elements within these games for everyone to enjoy. Play through them once or 100 times. You can grind for loot, you can search for more and more of the story that's hidden within the cracks of the world. You're not punished for experimenting with different playstyles to find out what you like the most. These games offer so much, and I'd love to see more major developers focus on them. However, I'll take the decreased volume of games and the starvation of wanting more if it means that when we do get the big titles, they continue to be special, each and every time. Here's to the future. Thank you for watching.